Hello, welcome to episode 2 in my series on how to edit your photos inside of ON1 Photo Raw 2019. In this episode we are going to take a look at one of the effects I always use pretty much, and that's the color enhancer. So let's just go into the develop module by clicking on the image we want to edit and edit on the right side of your screen. So we are continuing on the image we started to do a basic edit on in the last episode. As you might remember, if you saw the last episode, we were pretty much done with the basic edit and the develop module. We're not gonna touch the develop module at this time. So let's go into effects and add a filter called color enhancer. Color enhancer is basically the same as what you find in, for example, Lightroom when it comes to hue, saturation, luminance. This is where we can pull out some more color or tone down the colors or whatever. I always use color enhancer, as I said, pretty much on every picture I work on. The great thing about color enhancer is that you can also change the temp, tint, saturation and vibrance, the overall saturation and vibrance, or you can be more specific and go into the color range and work directly with sliders under the color tone that you want to work on. Let's go into the color range and start there. We're gonna start with the reds. There's not too much red here, but if there is any red, I want to enhance it by going up on the saturation. Let's see, is there any red? Yeah, there's some red in this tree. Of course, I don't want to go up to 100, but I'm going to go down to 7, and I want to enhance the reds here even more. So I'm gonna actually go down on the brightness and see if that pulls out more dramatic color effect on the reds. Yeah, it doesn't do too much, but if we go into the orange, we can probably pull out in more details or color pop on the orange color. So let's do that. In this case, I want to kind of make the autumn colors be even more dramatic. I want more autumn in my picture, so I'm gonna go down on the hue on the orange and see, yeah, that changes a lot. It's a lot more dramatic right now, but it's far too much though. We need to do something about it. We can either try and go up on the brightness, doesn't change a lot, so we are actually going to default brightness and we're going to pull back on the hue, so to around, I think around there somewhere. So let's look at 0 hue. So it's not actually it's kind of dim or flat, and that's the reason why we want to change the hue, because we want to enhance the orange and reds here. So I'm going back to around -6, maybe even more, -7, and I'm gonna up the saturation just a little bit more, and that's far too much, so I'm gonna go back on it again. And I would actually try the brightness right now and go up and down. I'm actually gonna go up to around 7. No, there, around 4. That's fine. And we're gonna go into the yellows right now, and of course there's a lot of yellow as well in the tones here in the grass. I actually want to kind of brighten the yellows. I want the yellows to be more prominent in this picture, so let's just go up, and we are creating a radioactive effect now, and that's far too much. We can't turn it into an unrealistic photo, so we're gonna go down again on the yellows to around here. We're gonna go up on the saturation just a little bit more to around here. It's starting to pop, and that's exactly what we want. We could go up on the greens, so we are creating a more greenish colors, turning the yellows into green, but we are gonna go down maybe and turn it into more of an orange color. Let's see if we can do it in a realistic way. Yeah, so it's difficult to say actually. We can try to go around here, and then I'm going down on the brightness just to see how that turns out. By going down on the brightness, I'm creating contrast with the white water and the foliage around. So I kind of want that. I kind of like that actually. Let's go into the greens. The green and the yellows are always pretty close to each other. So if you have foliage in your image, you can be sure that the greens have a lot of yellows. So to change the greens, you probably also need to change the yellows. We are gonna go up on saturation on the greens. We want more details or more pop in the greens. We are actually going up on the brightness to around here. We still have the waterfall. My eyes are looking right at the waterfall now, so that's pretty good. We don't want to look around here. This is just extras. It doesn't do a lot for the image actually. It's just nature. It's the waterfall we want to work on. So let's go into the aqua. Aqua is of course a lot of blues, but still close to the green. I want to turn the aqua that is on this image into just a tad more blue, so I'm going to go up on the aqua, see what happens, and you can see it turns into this crazy color between blues and aqua, so it's far too much. We can't do that, but we can try and go down on the brightness, maybe create a dramatic sky that way, and pop with the saturation. Now it's starting to look like not a dramatic sky. It's still soft, it's still realistic, and we can then go into the blues and we can try and tweak the sky to something more dramatic without ruining the realism here. So I want to go down on the brightness. This is of course far too much, so we can go down 100, maybe to around here, and then we can actually go up on the saturation to create that blue sky that we want. We want a lot of blues in this sky. The sky I would actually use another effect for, so I would touch the sky just slightly but not too much in this part of the edit. So I'm going down on the saturation to something around here. And now we have basically done a basic color grading or color enhancement inside our picture. And I can see now that we did too much actually. So we need to tweak it even more. But we did a lot. Maybe we could actually lower the opacity on the effect and kind of go a little bit back to our original. So if we go out to the effect or the filter here, you can see opacity and the slider on top. So if we go all the way down, this color enhancer is totally disabled. It's totally transparent. It's not doing anything on the image. And if we want to go for realism, we can go slowly up here. Increase, 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 up. Yeah, it's starting to look better. It's starting to look more like what I was going for, to around here. This is actually looking nice. Now, I see that we are changing the tones for our waterfall. It's actually starting to look kind of vanilla color or brownish, and of course I don't want the color to be brownish. I want it to be bright and I want it to be more white. So I'm just gonna go up a little bit more here, and I'm totally ignoring that we are turning the waterfall into brownish yellowish tones. Yeah, this is looking okay. So what we need to do now, since we are applying this filter on the entire image, is that we need to paint out the parts where we don't want the filter to do anything, to change anything. There are many ways we can do that. We can paint out the mask, which is what we are going to do now, but we could also try and do it with the luminosity slider, which would actually deselect or select whatever we wanted to deselect or select. Go into the mask, we need to click on this little square with a hole in the middle. It says show hide masks. Now we are inside the mask, and you can see that this is entirely white. This is because the effect or the filter color enhancer is applied on the entire image. If we were to invert this mask to blacks, the color enhancer would not show anywhere in the image. It would actually disable the effect, but we could paint in the color enhancer wherever we wanted to paint it in. I'm going to click on invert again, so the mask is applied to the entire image, and I'm now going to paint out the waterfall, so the effect is not applied to the waterfall. I can do that by making sure this is selected, meaning it's the masking brush. You also can select the masking brush over here. Since we are painting out the effect, we are going to make sure that mode is set to paint out. As you can see on the circle here, there's a minus sign. This means subtract. So we are going to paint out. The size is 400. This is actually kind of big, so I'm going down on the size to around 350 maybe. The feather is at 100, so it's actually feathering the painted mask or the painted mask removal. So there's no hard edges. Instead of being hard edges, it's a soft edge that makes it more realistic. Or if there's hard edges, you would probably see that there's something done with the mask, painting in or out or whatever. The opacity is kind of important. This is at 30% opacity now, so it means that we are only removing 30% of the mask. If I paint from top to down here, I have removed 30% of the effect. I want to remove the whole effect from this waterfall, so I'm actually going to put it on -100, and then I start painting out the color enhancement on the waterfall. So we don't really see what we are doing right now because it's just very subtle changes here, but we're gonna paint it out from all the whites here. So it's actually kind of doing just ever so slightly. So down here we could of course increase the brush size, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it up to around 700 and paint out. Okay, so we have painted out the mask, and the beautiful thing about this mask is that if we need to do some effects on another mask, let's say for example on glove, I can go into glove. Let's just copy this mask first. So I'm gonna hit the copy button and go up to glove. Just gonna render first. We go up and click on the mask button, we can go into paste. So if I were to do glow on this image right now, let's do darker for example, it would only darken the things around the image and not the waterfall. So that's the beauty of working with masks. And in this way you can do a lot of stuff to your image. If I wanted the glow to be on the water, I could just click on invert, and it's now only on the water but not the trees or the sky. So you have a lot of options in ON1 when it comes to masks. And as I said, you can even do a sky replacement. It doesn't work so good around trees like this, but you can try, and then you use the refine tool and it will hopefully do a decent result. Anyway, let's remove the glow again. So we are now done with the color toning, everything like that. We have a, I wouldn't call it perfect, but we have a pretty good image just by doing color toning with the color enhancer. So if let's say I slap a vignette on there now and I do a big softy, you would have a decent result. So you don't need to do a ton of work and use a ton of effects on your image to get a kind of a good result. So just try the different effects on the filter, and we will also cover all of the effects under filters. And for the next episode we are going to cover color dynamic contrast, we're gonna cover curves, and then we are gonna do glow. I think at least dynamic contrast and curves. So that's for the next episode. Thanks a lot for watching, and if you like this video, please click on that like button, and if you want to, you can subscribe. Also, if you don't like the video, just click on dislike, but please tell me what you didn't like. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye. Okay, sorry, I forgot something. If you want to buy or try ON1 Photo Raw 2019, you can click the link in the description and it will give you 10% off if you buy ON1, and it will actually give something to me as well, so I can keep my home pages up and stuff like that. So thanks again.